And now on the line is Colmán Ó Raghallaigh, a founder and spokesperson of the West of Ireland Rail Lobby Group West on Track. Colmán, welcome to Near FM.
Thank you.
Okay, cool. Colmán, when I was researching for this interview, I came across an interview you did talking about West on Track on the old Irish language Beal website from 2006. That article is over 17 years old. You are clearly involved with West on Track a long time. Could you start off, Colmán, by telling me more about the background to the West on Track campaign, please?
I can indeed, yes. Well, the background to it is this, that the railway line that we're talking about here runs all the way from Waterford to Sligo. And in the middle of the 20th century and in the later decades of the 20th century, quite a lot of the sections of the line were progressively closed down, basically due to neglect, but also a desire on the part of some of the transport companies to get rid of assets that they felt weren't very profitable or whatever. So, in particular, the railway from Foynes to County Mayo was operating as a Western Rail corridor until the year 2000. So, in other words, materials from the Asahi plant at Killala were being brought by rail from Ballina to Foynes until the year 2000. Now, the railway line from Limerick to Foynes was subsequently closed, as was the railway line from Claremorris to Athenry, and indeed from Ennis to Athenry as well. So those three sections were taken out, and there was a campaign to restore them. Now, the situation is that there was an inter-county railway committee made up of councillors from councils across the West, which was established by a man from Sligo by the name of Joe Cawley and Father Micheál McGrail, the well-known sociologist and social rights campaigner. He was a lecturer in sociology in Maynooth College. He was a professor of sociology. So they set up this inter-county railway committee, and it consisted of councillors from the various counties involved, and it functioned and still continues to function till the present day. But in 2003, a report was brought out by a company hired by the government. It was at that time a rail review for the whole country, and it proposed that if there was to be a Western Rail corridor, it would cost a vast amount of money, and it was clear that it was an attempt to gold plate the whole project and make the price so unrealistic that the government wouldn't go near it. And that was actually the result that it had. Now, at that time, I and a number of other people who were involved in community activities here in the west of Ireland became involved. Now, I knew Father Micheál McGrail from the 1970s. We had been involved in Conradh na Gaeilge and all kinds of things together over the years. And we decided that we would set up a community-based campaign in order to work for the redevelopment of the railway. And so we established in all of the towns from Limerick up to Sligo West on Track groups. And we call the organisation West on Track. I suppose it's self-explanatory. And in getting groups to join, we got existing organisations like Chambers of Commerce, community development associations, tourism organisations, universities, all kinds of people affiliated with us. And we had members in all of these areas, some of them active, some of them less so. But we had support across the whole region. And one of the first things we did was we organised a petition, which was long before there was Facebook or anything like that. And we managed to get over 100,000 signatures all the way from Clare up to Sligo. So Minister Seamus Brennan at the time was a West of Ireland man, a native of County Galway, and he was interested in what was happening in the west of Ireland as far as this project was concerned. And we presented him with those signatures, and we had meetings with him, and we explained to him the logic of what we were saying. And I remember saying to him on one occasion, if it was possible to go from Claremorris to Galway by train in 1894, and the railway is still there, why isn't it possible today? And he was taken by that comment, and he understood what I meant. So, in any event, I was just one of a number of people who were involved in setting up the West on Track campaign. It was a region-wide organisation, and the critical point about it was that it wasn't a parochial group. It wasn't one town or one village that was looking for something for itself, but it was a whole link of various different towns, committees, towns and cities across the whole region who were involved in this campaign. And therefore, it was representative of people on the ground, and it still is. In fact, I'm happy to tell you that our organisation has grown enormously in the meantime, and we have about 3,000 people who are actually affiliated one way or another to West on Track. So it is a very strong grassroots, community-based organisation. And our first objective was to get a report done, and that report was done by ourselves on the actual railway line itself, complete with photographs and costings and everything else like that. And that was presented to the Minister also. So the Minister decided to set up a working group, and that working group reported in 2005 and recommended that the corridor would be reopened in sections from Limerick to Sligo. And it would be reopened in phases. The first phase would be Ennis to Athenry, which was a missing link between Galway and Limerick cities. And then the next phase would be Athenry to Tuam, Tuam to Claremorris, and finally that a full review would be done of Claremorris to Sligo. So we have now reached a situation today where recently the Minister has been indicating strongly that he proposes to reopen the railway to Claremorris from Athenry. Now, previously in 2010, the section from Athenry to Ennis was opened, and that allowed traffic to go all the way from Galway to Limerick and vice versa. And in 2022, that was continued to be the fastest growing railway in Ireland, with an increase of 14.4% in passenger numbers. And the numbers now are approximately the same as what are travelling from Westport to Dublin every year. And it's obviously growing exponentially. So we're very pleased that we've arrived now at a situation where the railway from Athenry to Claremorris is to be reopened, not because of those two towns, but because it will connect up to all the other towns in County Mayo, Castlebar, Westport, Ballina, Claremorris. It will also bring in Tuam in County Galway, which is a town of 10,000 people. And it will allow for rail freight in the first instance to travel from County Mayo all the way down to Foynes, to Waterford and to Cork when that becomes operational in the future. So there's quite a lot of information there now, I appreciate, Darren, but I hope it gives you some idea of how the whole thing has evolved.
Yeah, you mentioned there what Eamon Ryan said this week. I know that some of our listeners may not know, but about around 2 years ago, the Minister Eamon Ryan and the Minister for Infrastructure, Transport in Northern Ireland, Nicola Mallon, launched a strategic rail review for the whole island. And Eamon Ryan spoke about it this week. It's got a lot of coverage I saw in the national media and regional as well. So, on the basis of what Eamon Ryan has said this week, are you happy with are you and West on Track happy with what he said?
Oh yes, Eamon Ryan has shown himself to be the most progressive Minister for Transport in the history of the state. He has initiated rail plans for Dublin, Waterford, Cork, Limerick, Galway, as well as reopening the rail line which is going on at the moment between Limerick and Foynes. And he is now going to reopen the railway line from Athenry to Claremorris. So he has been an extraordinarily progressive minister, and we're very happy with that announcement. We do expect also that it will open for passengers fairly quickly afterwards, because obviously there's quite a lot of people from our area who commute to Galway every day. There's 10,000 people, as I said, in Tuam. These, with the announcement last week of a 6% increase in carbon emissions in transport, we need to get people out of cars and get them into trains. And the sad fact of the matter is that, generally speaking, people won't leave cars to go on buses. So you must, if you have railway lines, our argument is develop those railway lines and bring them into use for the state's benefit. And whatever they may cost to run, they will more than compensate for in what they will save us in carbon emissions going forward. And so therefore we're very happy with that announcement. We have one caveat in that we would like to see also in the future provision to be made for the redevelopment of the railway northwards, the full railway to Sligo. And that is something that we will be working on, and we hope that the railway will be protected for that purpose and for that purpose alone.
Okay, I understand that the full report of the Strategic Rail Review All-Ireland report hasn't actually formally been published yet. Has Eamon Ryan given a date when the report is going to be published, or is it a question, or is it a case of we already know what's in it, or what's the story like?
Well, as you say, we certainly know what's in it, because Eamon has been flagging that quite a lot in recent months. And he's been talking about the Claremorris Athenry thing for the past 2 years. So people have a pretty good idea of what's going to be in there. As regards its publication date, as you may know, as you said it in your introduction, this was launched by the government in the north when there was a government in the north and the government in the south. So because in the absence of a government in the north, they seem to be saying that they can't publish the full thing officially. But what they're proposing to do now, and the Minister has confirmed this, is that he's bringing this report before Cabinet next week with a view to having it approved by them for publication. And it will be published then in what's being called a draft document. But it is absolutely the ultimate document. I think we can take it that that's what's going to be in the final document as well. They'll hardly renege on anything that they've said in the draft before going on to the final document, whether which we expect that the railway for Athenry to Claremorris, which we're particularly concerned about, will be confirmed in that document. And I would expect that if the Cabinet gives the go-ahead, the Minister will bring forward then, between here and the autumn, those projects which are considered to be shovel-ready. One of those projects will be the redevelopment of the railway from Athenry to Claremorris. Now, there's a reason that we think that will be progressed quickly as well, in that the largest company in Mayo, which is Baxter Pharmaceuticals in Castlebar, Baxter, they are not pharmaceuticals, they manufacture medical equipment. They have indicated that they wish to move all of their business progressively onto the railway over the coming years. So we expect that that's going to happen in the very near future. There's going to be an inland port set up in Castlebar to facilitate that. But for your information, Mayo is the only county in the country that's producing rail freight at the moment. And there are over 10 trains a week travelling of ordinary freight and 3 timber trains out of County Mayo to Dublin or to Waterford. The problem for the Waterford-bound traffic is that it has to go the long way round through the greater Dublin area up to Kildare before it can go down to Waterford. So when this new section of the corridor is open, as the Minister has pointed out, you will be able to move all that rail freight directly. Now, the amounts of rail freight that are on the rail at the moment, while they're significant from County Mayo, the rest of the country is devoid of rail freight. And Tara Mines freight, which was the only freight in the east, has ceased as of this week, temporarily, we hope. So we need a situation where there will be many other companies coming on board. And I'm aware that that is going to be the case, particularly here in County Mayo, that once these facilities are available to begin moving rail freight, other big companies in County Mayo will also move to that. But obviously, the fact that there is a rail corridor means that companies in Galway could also do the same. Companies in Clare, companies in Limerick, companies in Tipperary, companies in Waterford itself. So it's all about connectivity, Darren, and it's all about maximising the resources that the state already has in its possession.
Okay, Colin, I won't keep you much longer for our spirited interview. Just for the benefit of some people listening today on radio who are not very up to date or au fait with the geography in the west of Ireland, can you tell me how many extra train stations are used in Western Track calling for, and can you tell me how many you imagine are going to be recreated over the next few years?
Yes, we expect that obviously there will need to be a railway station in Tuam once the move to passengers takes place. And there is an existing railway station there. There's 14 acres of property owned by the railway company, so there's plenty of room there. I expect that the older railway station will be preserved and that a more modern structure will be constructed for the commuters. It is proposed by Dr. John Bradley in his report on the railway, which was published 2 years ago, that there would be a further park and ride facility at a place called Ballyglunin, which links the main roads from Roscommon in towards Galway with the main roads from Tuam towards Galway. And that would provide a facility where so many of the people who get caught in the traffic jams that you hear about on the radio every day would be able to leave their cars at that place and take a train into Galway. They would avail of the services which are travelling into Galway. So the logic of that, I think, is pretty obvious. And so they're the only two that would be required. There is an existing railway station in Claremorris. There is an existing functioning railway station also in Athenry. And of course, there's Moore Station further in towards Galway, which was built as part of the Western Rail Corridor in 2013.
So your campaign, West on Track, are calling for 3 additional train stations, and it looks like you're going to get them as well, is it?
Well, we're looking for 2. We're looking for one in Tuam and one in Ballyglunin. Now, obviously, if the railway to the north of Claremorris is to be developed in the future, there will be other railway stations there. But we're speaking about what's happening just right now at the moment, so therefore we're looking for 2.
Agus in this year in Lína tá Colmán Ó Raghallaigh, Raidió an Bhactas Éireann Road in Iarn Héireann West on Track. A Colmán fáilte go dtí Clare?
Go raibh míle mágat, Sharon.
A Colmán bhísigh brathnúir altan nuachta an Éireann idiréin in Rev 2 lúte leis an Bhactas West on Track, agus de réir cosúlachtaí tain West on Track agus dóhaint leis siar roinnt waith blianta. An féidir ar dús a Colmán le intin dar lucht éisteachta sé sin dóibh siúd nach bhfuil ar an eolas faoi céhíad West on Track agus an stair atá leis?
Kinse, well, is grúpa bunithe ar an bobal atá I West on Track. Is grúpa fecht síochta muid, daoine atá gníomhaithe in sna pobal éagsúla trasna an Raidió in seo ar fad. So bunithe West on Track sa bhliain 2000 agus a 3 hon brú a chur le go nacht na slófaí na PC sin go an Iarn Road ar a dúchtar Conor Iarn Road an Iarthar nó the Western Rail Corridor. Go nacht na slófaí na líonse sin a waithe leis na pobal áitiúla. Agus mar ólas gon gachtéisteachta chéan an lína sin an bailach ar fad ó Fort Lauriga suas cho fada le sligach. Now, tá cuid mhór gan lína atá oscailte hena féin, ach tá codanna áirithe dí ar cóir iad a oscailte níos dar linn, agus a sé tá gceist ag an aire iompar faoi láthair ná den nacht na slófaí an dara físa go inis, tar éis inis go BéalÁthahAmhnais a bheith oscailte i 2010 agus a 10, tá sé gceist níos BéalÁthahAmhnais go chláirte na bhuirise oscailt le go geanglófaí an chuid is mó go chunda bhuió na bailte móra ar fad, le Gaeilge agus le Limnach agus le Corcaigh agus Sport Lauriga. Now, the factors on Gosarúil ag an cuiste idir conde Iarn Road an Iarthar, the Western Inter-County Railway Committee, mar a thugtaí agus is cóileoirí conde an chuid is mó as 8 údarás áitiúil in Iarthar na Héireann atá bainteach leis an dram sin. Agus tá muide ag obair leis an dram sin I ggófáirt leo ó 2000 agus 3. Agus jairí linn faoi mar a dúirt mé an céad chuid gon Iarn Road a oscailt i 2000 agus a 10. Agus tá fás agus forbairt ag tarlú go sírí seasta ar an lína sin ó bunithe i 2000 agus a 10. Sa féid agus go rá méadú go 40.4 sílam ar líon na baisinéirí an orí, agus tá sé ar cóchéiminis le línse ar nós an lína ó Cahar na Mart go Ballyhaunis mar hampla. Agus tá muid ag súilenis go rachaí an rialtas a rail leis an céad chuideile, agus bei an lína súsó fada le chláirte na bhuiris oscailte béidir tíbhaiste go 3 bliana, agus fáca sé sin go méid BéalÁthah, Cahar na Mart, Coisleán na Warí agus chláirte na bhuiris chomach le Tuam I gunda na Gaeilge, baile go 10,000 duine, by siad san fad ceangailteisteach in éanacht mar cuid gon tionscanmh.
Tá sé go hénta ceapan sé gur dairg le bheith líon inniu a oscailt sa bhliain gábhain is a det mar zolait bhí cuasaí airgid ag an réaltas ag stracailt go mór timpeall ná sin nach raibh?
Bhí, ach bhí an socrú sin déanta tamil go bhlianta roimhe sin, agus bhí an targad caite, bhí an obair nach mór jumta faoin am a tháirg a tharla an tubaiste ach na míochta, agus bégan dul reilis an sin cúiseáin nó cúiseile. Ach ar chuoibh ní rá sé tráthúil a bheith oscailt lína nua ar an róide an am, agus tá bhrí sin thug sé tamil ar an lína sin bláthú mar a deartha, agus ar nói biniu ionsaithe go leor ionsaithe ar an lína ag an am ag lucht tractor of Láithlia, rinne prime time clár malíiseach faoi dar tigeal Ghost Railway agus rudí sin cinál sin, ach tá sé sin ar fad breagnaithe inis ag an bhás agus ag an bhórbúirte tá deanta ar an lína ó chuin. Agus tá John Bhródúil as ar nói bhí cíal a bans le Gaeilge agus Limnach an tríú agus an ceathrú chathair is mó sa stát a ceangal le chéile, agus sin mar a rinneú nuair a d'orbair siad an pís sin gan lína. Agus tá cíal inis leis le chundahío a ceangal leis an chathair réigiúnach Gaeilge, agus bei cíal a maithan seo le slígeach baile mór eile I dúsceart an réigiúin a ceangal le Gaeilge freisin.
Okay, Louis tú go raibh go bhfuil Eamon Ryan an tara obair caint fi seo an seachann seo. An féidir dar luachta níos mó rá intin dar luachta éisteachta faoin próséis ar buna ag an réaltas de cúpla bliana nua sé sin an tarfeithniú stratéiseach iarnóid Ileán. An féidir dar luachta éisteach le níos mó intin dóibh faoi seo?
Nuair a tháinig an tara iompúir ratha an Tosaíonn I gcuacht trí bliain á hin, bhí rúnaig forbairt dhéana ar an hirimróid sa tír, agus caiim rá gur bé an tara is réabhlóidí iompúir a bhí agan ó bunaíú an stát. Sa bhéad agus bhfuil airgid á chathu ag I Ballyglunin, I Ballyglunin, I Corcaigh, I Limnach agus I Gaeilge, ag déanana forbairt ar seirbhísí trénacha na háití sin go léir, ach agus bhfuil an lína ó Limnach go fáins á oscailte, agus bhfuil sé gceiste inis an lína ó Athenry go Claremorris na bhuidir sé oscailt chun muí agus Gaeilge agus an coideala an tír a ceangal. Ach in san bhliain 2000 agus 21 chur sé an survey nó an studier se ar bon faoi cuasaí iarnróid ar an Ileán ar fad, cuasaí Ileán mar a dúirtú hain. Agus chuirú sin le chéile I báirt leis an rialtas a bhí annig an am sa túisceart. Farí ar ggéir ní léon rialtas sa túisceart faoi láthid, ach tá sé gceiste inis ag an rialtas an seo dréocht don túrisc ailsiú an teachtaide thugann, agus béle feiceáilen sin céirdíad na rudaí atá molta in san rud sin, ach tá siad tuairtha go maith go poiblí le tamil go bhíon íonús ag an air a héin, agus I measc na nithe atá a gceist ná an lína ó BéalÁthahAmhnais go Claremorris na bhuidir a oscailte agus sin an rud is mó sime aganne ar nói.
Okay, sin is an rud is mó sime tá a gcuibh. Like an bhfuil spocanna eile gibh ó thaobh líonse atá sibh ag súil go darlóidh freisin nó an bhfuil sibh sásta leis an méid atá ráite ag an planáte ag Eamon Ryan?
Well, tá John sásta leis an warbúirt atá le heachta inis ar an lína suas go chundahío, mar tá trénacha lastais nó freight trains ó chundahío ag dul go Ballyglunin agus go Portlaige faoi láthid. Breis agus Jeff go náthrain agus trí trénacha ámuid chun heachtan. So tá méadú teachtar sin an tam go léir, so ba ceart go meach bailach díirech ag na trénacha sin dul go dtí na na Calaforch agus na Porch in Neskert na Chira. Agus bei, nuair atá an pí seo an lína oscailte. Ach bei sé ag oscailt freisin is doilin le haid passionéirí go garid ní sin. Agus tá sé sin riamhta nach freisin, I ngeall ar a méadú atá tacaí ar an trúliú éráide, a léiriú an teachtain se caite sé fáin géad go bhéadú ar sin. Agus is gá é sin a leis, agus ní léon bhealach choné a leis, ná ní sear ná daoine a bhealú a maithó na cárach, bhíag si a choristeachar na trénachaí. Agus sin atá gist le seocht ar linn, go naid forbert ar na passionéirí chomaith le cuasaí lastais. Agus ag dal raile wai sin in íir sin, is dóilinn gur ceart an cuiide gan lína ó condahuió súscusliga a oscailt freisin. Agus ní bheith sé sin ag tarlú ar a buinte buise mar cuiide gan stráteis faoi láthir. Ach is gá gon fi an lína sin a chuomhnú, agus cinú go mééis si ar fáil a maihan seo. Mar tá sé leiciúil agus cíalhar. Gach ile iarnród atá agan sa tíir seo inis a chuomhnú agus a orbert. Bíoh sé ar a buinte buise nó a maihan seo. Ach rinne muid go leor botún is na blinti atá hart. In áitiúil ar nós blát lia, nuair a haring muid amach na tramaní go léir a bhí an, nuair a iarmuid an lína iarnróid de Harcourt Street Line agus rudigin cinál sin. Ní féidir linn agus ní dhéanaí tásúlagam muid na botún céine sin a dhéanamh ríist.